Well, here we are, me and the dog, back along the hedgerows again. We've got the hawthorn, we've got the rose hips, elderberries are done. Here we've got my big sloes, big marble sloes, fantastic. But we're not after sloes, keep a couple in my mouth. We're not after sloes. What we're after today is acorns, and there's a few good acorn trees down in the direction the dog is heading. Right, so I've moved up the hedge lines because the oak trees at that end were not terribly productive, and I see lots and lots of acorns on the trees. So perhaps we're just a little bit early, but there are plenty on the ground here. Not as many as I saw the other day in a different location, but that's in entirely the opposite direction. So I'm here now, so we'll make use of the acorns here. Now, from start to finish, this is a very tedious process. So I'm out here with the dog anyway, so I might as well collect them anyway. So this is the start of making our acorn flour then. And I'm not just picking them up, I am doing a bit of a quality control. I don't mind if they're brown, but I do mind if they've got big splits in them like that, or little holes. So splits are not necessarily that bad, but if they've been laid on the ground for a while and they're getting muck and grit in, and holes generally tell you that there's a weevil inside that's made its exit, like that. I mean, that could just be, that's probably weevil damage, probably. And there's a split one, but I'm not excessively bothered about that split. I'll collect that and decide later. Oh, we rejected that one. There's a lot of brown ones, which mean they came off a lot earlier. And you can see, oh, we don't want that one. Something's had that one. I'm not terribly bothered if they are brown or browning. It just means they've been here a bit longer. But they will be a bit filthier because of the time they've laid here. Right, well, I'll crack on with this bit of the exercise, and I'll catch you when we get back, unless anything terribly exciting happens between now and then. If they float on the water, it means they've got a lot of air inside them, and they've usually got a lot of air inside them because they've got a little grub inside them which has been eating a cavity. Right, the first thing I do with my acorns, because I've been picking them off the floor and it has been raining, is I just dump them into some water. And I just swish them around a little bit. And this is just rainwater I've put them in. And this is mainly to get the grit off, but also the ones that are floating, I'll take them out as well, because the reason they're floating is they've got a lot of air in them, and the probable reason they've got a lot of air in them is because something inside has been eating them. So I'm just going to take off the floaters. I will have a look at those floaters later. Right, so that'll get the grit off, and then I'm just going to take them out and dry them out again. Well, today's not a very good day for working outside, so we're working inside, and what we're doing today is processing our acorns. Now it is quite dark, so I'm not sure what you can see, but I've been peeling away. I'm not worried about the very close skin on the meat or the kernel. Not worried too much about it. The reason I'm not worried too much about it is because it's very difficult to get off. What you can notice over time, you probably can't see it in this image, but the water is turning a slight yellow colour, and that's as the tannins have been leached out, and we're probably a quite significant tannin in the thin membrane or skin on the meat that I'm not getting off, but if it comes out in the water, that's okay, and ultimately it will provide you with a bit of fibre, so I'm not too worried about it. I do suspect that my acorns could do with ripening a bit more before I do this, so that they're totally brown and a bit harder. The actual shells might come off a little easier if they were a little harder, but we are where we are, and we are going to carry on. This is all a learning process. That one's come off very clean. And that one. There's a bit of a blemish on that one, but I'm not going to worry about that. Right, so these have been soaking overnight, and I've changed the water once. It's a bit murky because I've been stirring it round, and there's bits of skin. I've got all the skin off the acorns. You can see the skin there. Very tedious job getting all the skin off. Unfortunately, I'm used to bitterness because I'm going through the woods sampling stuff. But if you taste the water, which is yellowy, and because I've been stirring it round, it's gone a bit fuzzy, but it's going a yellow colour. If you taste it, it has got a bit of a bitterness about it, slight bitterness about it, but not too much. And in fact, it's quite a pleasant drink. But I've got to smash them up yet, smash all the nuts up. And I'm hoping the blender will do that, otherwise I'm going to have to put them in a little bag and start belting them with a hammer. Because there's a lot more soaking process to go through yet, like several days. I'll probably do it 4 or 5 days. Changing the water twice a day. This is when I get them beat up to a pulp, so we can turn them into flour, not as half nuts as they are now. But I had a thought, you know, if you had clayey soil, you could just dig a hole, couldn't you? Dig a hole, put your wood ash in that clay hole, pile all your acorns in and just leave it over winter. I don't know whether that would work or not. But anyway, we're doing it the more standard method by grinding them up now and soaking the grindings or the grits, as the Americans call it. I might not be able to do too much filming because we've just done one load through the washing machine and we've got another load to do. So it don't make for good filming when the washing machine's spinning and jigging about. But these aren't one-off videos for the sake of videos. This is real life, so I've just got to get on with it. So I'll get on with it and I'll see where we get to. You know, I actually don't find this that bitter. Maybe it is. Yes, it is. If you eat too much of it, it is bitter. The liquid it's giving off is not too bitter at the moment. But the nuts themselves, they are bitter. So we do need this leaching process. Right, so there it is then. We've got 3 jars to settle out. And I've just got a sample in my hands there, and it is quite a gritty flour that doesn't really bind together, so you can see why you have to mix it with other flours to make something like bread. And I'm just going to let them settle, and I'll change the water regularly. I might give them a bit of a shake as well when I do that. But the flour will settle onto the bottom. I have got some fairly big bits in there as well, but if I'm making bread, then that would just be a nutty bread, wouldn't it? Be like a nutty flour. Right, I'll get back to you in a few days then. Right, so it has been 5 days now, so I'm going to just rinse them one more time, and then I'm going to put the contents in this jelly bag to get most of the moisture out, and then I shall finish off the drying process by the wood stove. It is still a little bit yellow, but yesterday it wasn't very bitter at all. So if we dry it out, I can live with it as it is. That doesn't taste bitter at all. So that's 5 days changing it twice a day, which is a bit tedious, and I'm sure we could do it in a better way than I've been doing it. So all I'm going to do now, just rinse it out one more time. How am I going to do this? There's the telephone going off. Well, I can just pour it straight in there, can't I? I'm losing quite a bit of the starch out of it, which is, the starch is quite valuable, and my bag is not fine enough to contain all that starch. But we will end up with the flour. Oh. I just wanted to make sure it is worthwhile doing. I'm sure I can do it a lot more efficiently. I can do a lot more research yet, and maybe some people will chip in and tell me where I'm not doing it right, or better ways of doing it. I can already think of some easier ways. You can see all that starch coming out, and I won't be wasting that water. That water will be at least put on the plants. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to tie a rope around the top here, which is, oh dear me, I can't reach it. Get it with my foot. Get it with my foot. I've dropped it on the floor. Pull it over. Not very hygienic, but we're just going to put a clovetch around here. So I've just put a clovetch around there, and now you'll see in a sec where I'm going to put it. Right, so I'm just letting it hang from the step ladders and drip into that bowl. I'll leave it there overnight, and then tomorrow I'll spread it out next to the fire to dry. But you can see by the milkiness of that we're losing a good bit of the starch. And I can taste the powderiousness of that liquid, so there's a lot of nutrients we're chucking out there. And I'm sure that could be captured and used for something useful. Doesn't taste bitter at all now. So one more process then, which is to dry by the fire after tonight, and then we should have flour. And the next episode after this one, if all goes well, will be to actually bake something with it. So this is the making of acorn flour then. I'm going to leave it here because this has taken several days from the collection to this process we're at now, which is just the drying process. And next episode I should have the flour and we'll bake something with it.